Askreddit Asks, what was your "I don't get paid enough for this" moment at work?
Worked at a fast food place about 13 years ago. This lady in the drive-thru claimed she was missing a sandwich. Our policy was to ask for the bags back to verify. I asked to see the bags, 3 or 4. Decent-sized order, and instead of handing them back like a civilized human being, she instantly started raging and throwing the food into the window while cussing me out. Guess what one of the items that she threw at me was? Yep. Said missing sandwich.
I walked into the bathroom, and someone had smeared poop on literally every single surface. Everything except one small part of the ceiling they couldn't reach. Picasso almost made me quit. But luckily my boss told me to lock it, not let anyone else use it. And he got someone to come with a pressure washer.
Props to your boss, honestly. Best boss on the thread. As far as I can tell.
Pressure washer is a new level of poo smear cleaning. Love it.
POOCASSO.
We used to be paid half salary to attend seminars related to our industry that grant professional development hours. These seminars would often be at 7 a.m. at a hotel that was about a 2-hour drive for me, if I was lucky, in rush hour traffic to get to. But hey, it was paid and had free breakfast. So waking up at 4:30 to attend wasn't the worst thing in the world. The company announced that they believed attending the seminars was furthering our knowledge, therefore helping the company, and therefore helping us, so we would no longer be paid to attend them but were still expected to go? I just said fuck that and haven't attended a single one since then and delete all the invite emails. I'm paid hourly. So taking the approximately 6 hours out of my day to drive and attend a seminar I am not being paid for is just plain stupid. I was asked why I haven't gone to any and told them I have a mortgage to pay. Haven't been asked to go again since. Edit. Holy crap, my inbox. Wanted to throw a few comments out cause I've been bombarded. 1. I believe the above situation arose when the company realized the licensed PEs were required to attend the seminars for development hours regardless. So they could get away with not paying. The company threw out that BS line to try to guilt us into going. But those of us who are not required to get the hours can't be forced to go. 2. I have already told them, as I mentioned above, that I have a mortgage to pay and am not going to attend anything without pay. I have not been reprimanded for it because, as many of you have been pointed out, that would be illegal and they know it. I am, quite literally, not getting paid enough to deal with that shit.
My boss insisted that everybody be at their desks at 8:30 sharp. She made me take roll on an attendance sheet and hand it into her every day. She also made me do it at lunchtime, when everybody left and came back, and when they left at night. Took roll for a bunch of adults 3 times a day. I don't work there anymore.
I had an emergency, last minute 20,000 word translation that needed to be done in under 24 hours. The usual output for a translator is 2,000 words per day, including proofreading and editing. I don't know how, but I managed to bash it out. Not my best quality translation ever, but I got it done. Edit. I'd like to point out that I did get many thanks from my actual boss. I also just remembered I did get a thank you email.
Lack of appreciation really sucks. But good job on that. What do you translate, boss? Now that we know you can do 20,000 words in a day, why don't you work that hard every day? That's what happens when you bust your ass.
Posted before this was back in the late 90s. I was working at Walmart as my first job as a teenager. I was floated to the garden department one day and there was a guy looking at lawn fertilizer. I walked over and asked if he needs help. He said, "Not now. Just looking at the different kinds you have." Pretty standard reply from the guy. So I said, "Okay. Let me know." I walk away, and then swing back about 5 minutes later. Same guy has proceeded to rip open about 10 different kinds of the fertilizer all over the ground and is rolling around in the stuff. He is also taste sampling the stuff. I called my manager because I did not want to deal with it. Security escorted the guy out the store and called an ambulance in case the ingestion of the fertilizer hurt him. Was the customer a dog?
Got change thrown in my face at work because a man was upset we didn't have meatballs. Now if I'm working he'll come in, see me, and walk out. Edit. I work at Subway lol. Edit 2. I'm sorry if I don't reply to you. I keep getting a lot of comments and have to work with what I got lol.
That's kinda good, though. Others shouldn't be subjected to his bullshit.
Do you have meatballs, though?
The time I went to sleep under my desk at work at 5 a.m. because I needed to be back at my desk for an 8 a.m. call. I had promised myself a long time ago that I would never sleep under my desk. I would go home, or just work straight through. But I wouldn't do that. I only lived a 12-minute walk home. But that night I realized that getting those extra 24 minutes of sleep were worth not going home. I was so sad about it. I am a corporate lawyer. We had been working, literally, around the clock for days on a deal that was going sideways. This was a Wednesday, a Thursday morning. But I had been there until 3 a.m. Sunday night, 5 a.m. Monday night, 6 a.m. Tuesday night, and had been back in the office by 9 a.m. every day. That's when I knew I needed to quit. But I'm still here a year and change later. Oops.
I worked in SROs in the middle of the roughest part of my city. I frequently have to identify drug dealers, report them, get them banned, and then enforce the ban. I get threatened by them a lot. Usually just with fists or knives. I don't mind that so much. If they come at me with a knife then the cops actually bust them and then they're out of my hair for good. Well, one guy just kind of laughed at me and said I'd regret it if I kept getting in his way. Which people say, though usually more aggressively, and I don't put much stock into it. Then he gave me his name and just told me to Google him. Turns out he's the son of one of the more violent crime families in the area. They're connected to like 40 targeted killings. And a lot of them are guys like me getting gunned down in parking lots. At that point I backed the fuck off. $20 an hour is not enough to fight the fucking mob. Edit. Because apparently people don't know what an SRO is and are angry about it. Single room, URL redacted, wiki, single_room_occupancy.
An old man rushed inside our store, literally running to the bathroom, but still managed to shit himself and all over the floor before he could make it. Right in the most open, spacious part of the store. Edit. Wow, this is my most popular response ever. I don't know if I'm excited or disappointed. To add further detail, this was at a combination Circlec Subway store. I work the Subway side, so it was one of the Circlec employees that actually cleaned it. And what I meant about it being out in the open was that we're the busiest store in our district. So even with a pile of shit is on the ground, we've got people still trying to come in and out. And it's very visible. And it took a little while for my friend on the Circlec side to actually get the cleaning supplies together. So a good chunk of people came in, saw the shit, shrugged it off and still got the pack of cigarettes. Saw the shit, did a double take and just went right back out the door. And we're in a big retirement area. So this kind of thing actually happens often. Though most times, it's mainly something that happens in the bathroom itself.
Direct support staff for people with minor disabilities. 13 an hour, had a client go off the rails because he refused to take schizophrenia pills. Was working night shift and he gets up in the middle of the night and starts yelling random things, running around the house naked. Peeing on everything. Asking for me to put a cowboy hat on him. He is now in a nursing home, bless his soul EDIT. Yes, he got his cowboy hat LMAO.
As an RN, when people go nuts they always get naked.
I work in childcare. There was one time we had one kid who had a diaper blowout and one kid who puked everywhere. There's only 2 teachers, so one has to handle the blowout and one the vomit, while also keeping the rest of the kids away from it all.
I don't think you understand what a contract means. Besides, this is an opportunity for you. When the new manager tried to move me to night shifts weekend from my day shifts working days despite my contract being very specific about when I worked. Hey, you were right, this is a big opportunity for me, was how I opened when I told her I was quitting. The look of shock and 15 minutes of silence on her part were hilarious and the best feeling interval of my entire life when she realized I had thrown her own stupid words back at her.
Incredible.
I was working late, like 2 a.m. in the office. My manager said let's go to the convenience store to buy some snacks and smokes. She sits in the back and we drive there. After we get our shit, she says can we swing by this street intersection, real quick. When we get to that intersection, I guess she sees a car that belongs to someone she knows, parked in front of her boyfriend's house. She starts to wail, cry and kick around in the backseat, while my bewildered ass just holds the steering wheel, with a stupid look on my face. After 20 minutes of that shit, we drive back to the office. I drop her off and I go home. WTF.
I worked at an Eddie Bauer in the mall one summer in high school, just working the floor. Helping customers. Keeping the displays stocked and tidy, normal shit. A guy comes in and starts rifling through the cargo shorts. Getting visibly flustered the longer he goes on. I, being the attentive worker that I was, ask him if I can help him with anything. This was 18 years ago. And I remember this almost verbatim. I'm going to use the language that he used for full shock effect. Yeah, don't you guys carry any fucking normal shorts? Not these ones with all these damn pockets. You know why they're used for, right? It's for all the niggers in the city to keep their drugs in. They keep their drugs in this pocket, points to the lower pocket. And they have their hand in this pocket, points up the regular pocket, and they're jerking off. Yeah, those niggers stand on the street corner with their drugs and they're jerking off. 17-year-old me was dumbfounded. The regular khaki shorts are back this way. Edit. For all of you calling the N-word bot on me or chastising me for saying it, learn about context you nitwits.
Used to work as a dental nurse. First patient of the friggin' day. Bloke said he felt sick after having a local anesthetic. He looked it. I grabbed the bin and told him if he needed to vomit. Take the bin. He held it in his lap and turned, vomiting down the side of the chair and all over my pants and shoes. Of course I had to clean it up and of course they wouldn't let me go home to change.
That's disgusting. Surely it's not ethical to let someone work with body fluid exposure on them the whole day?
It's also a massive infection risk.
I manage a fast food restaurant and for me it's always things that have to do with the bathroom. From having to clean up porn magazines with semen on the floor or walls, to people either purposely shitting on the floor, even used hypodermic needles.
Same boat here, but with customers instead of washrooms. Swearing at my underage staff puts a real bad taste in my mouth. And I'm not nice about it.
Working at Target on Black Friday in the back room without anyone else to help me pull the product and getting told I am not keeping up. Weird how I got sick 2 hours into my volunteered 12H shift.
Whoa. Volunteering?
Countless times at the go-kart place, summer job, where I work I've had to put up with special needs kids whose caretakers or parents dropped them off and drove off because they wanted a break from them. These kids, and adults, have a mental age of anywhere from 3 to 15 and many times they are unable to follow the directions that we provide or even listen to us. They are not only a danger to themselves but to the other riders and to us the staff. An easy solution to this would be for their parents to ride with them in a double and to drive for them, allowing them to have fun without having to put anyone in danger. However, that costs more money, and they don't want to. One parent even said, "Why can't you just ride with him?" And when I asked if she would be comfortable with other people, she said he wasn't. I wanted to call her a shitty parent, but I didn't want to lose my job. We can't deny them as they have the physical age to ride. But are hopefully putting rules in place to require parents of children with special needs to ride with their parents. Edit. I hold nothing against these kids. But the fact is that their parents are responsible for them. If they want a break from them, they could hire a caretaker. Even then, though, I understand that bad parents do exist. However, it is the caretakers who refuse to take care of the kids who are unacceptable. You are getting paid. Do your job. Edit 2. Typo. Having to listen to a child scream his head off because the father insisted on injection instead of the calming drug we usually use for kids that small. Asshole father. That kid is going to be scared of the dentist for a long time. If not for life. As an adult, can I request that calming drug for myself?
When I was younger, the dentist didn't use enough of the numbing stuff. And I was having fillings put in. I felt everything. He never fixed it. I am terrified of dentists now.
I work in security, and a bit under a year ago, I worked at some kind of public TV event. My job was to keep people without passes out of a specific area which was intended for those working behind the scenes to kick back and relax and get their lunches and all that. Anyway, only ones I was allowed entrance were people with passes and other security folks. But then word from above came that the exception was to be made for some kind of supposedly famous child music group. I had no clue what they looked like. So 4 kids and their parents walk up and I stop them. "Don't you know who these are?" quickly followed. Eventually it got cleared up, and every time after they kept bringing in more friends and family members and the same song and dance continued.
You.
Doing landscaping during the summers while in college. I rolled up a long piece of sod I had just cut and placed it in a wheelbarrow. When I turned back around, there's a copperhead sitting in the wheelbarrow giving me the stank eye. Apparently I had rolled a copperhead up in the sod and carried it to the wheelbarrow before he was able to get out. I ended up having to kill 4 copperheads that day.
Big fuck that. 4. Where were the other 3? Was working the registers at a grocery store. About an hour before closing, a customer comes to my lane with 2 48 quart egg cartons. Stumbles a bit putting them onto the belt, and before I can react the entire thing was on the ground. Best part? Apparently the janitor had left already. So I got to spend the next hour cleaning up 96 broken eggs with nothing but paper towels.
My mother was moving interstate with my father and it was the last time I'd see either of my parents for months. I was 18 and just graduated school. I explained this to my boss but he just said I would have to see her another time because he needed a fence put up over the weekend. I told him I was leaving either way and he could put his own fence up. I quit soon after that. He also accused me of lying and berated me multiple times for random things that I either didn't do and refusing to pay me for weeks at a time.
Sound like it was a good thing you got out of there. Cleaning my boss's period blood from the chair she say on. I still can't believe the disgusting woman walked off and left it like that. Yes. She knew. Edit. Of course my biggest comment ends up being about that woman's period SMH.
EW. If I did that I'd be so embarrassed I would glue the chair to my ass and take it home.
When I worked at McDonald's, I found out we didn't get paid for closing. We got paid until the store closed. So if it took us an extra hour or 2 to close, that was unpaid. I wish I knew what I know now. Because that is an open and shut case. But at the time, I was young and dumb. My first paycheck, I noticed I had a ton of missing hours. So when I asked my boss about it, she told me we only get paid until the store closed. So that night, I walked out when the store closed. They tried to guilt me into staying. Because the other team members need me. Fuck that. I don't work for free. Sorry. Especially when I'm already making minimum wage. No thanks. Not gonna happen.
Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel, and above all, have an excellent day you incredible people.